saw the first one.
I can put up a link to my review of the first one.
Please.
Why did you say that? I have cat videos to watch.
I like the Speghead. And Decker Shadow.
One of my first reviews on this channel was of a little piece of magic called Skyline. The very concept was terrifying to me. Imagine being trapped in your house during an alien invasion, happening right outside your window, and the only thing keeping them from coming in are your drapes. There's a blue light they use that if you look at it, you fall into a trance and get sucked up into the spaceship. It was tense, claustrophobic, and the stuff of nightmares. It's a neat approach to the alien invasion genre, as seen through the eyes of a small group of people huddling in the dark. No military strategy, no scenes of the president approving airstrikes, just a small band of people that only get smaller. Actually, the War of the Worlds remake did that first. I knocked Skyline down a peg for being a glorified special effects reel, with cliched, paper-thin characters, a threadbare plot, and a bizarre ending. Needless to say, I never thought they'd make a sequel, but here it is. The difference between Alien and Aliens was the first one was a tense horror movie, and the second one was an action movie. This movie takes the same approach. This is not Alien. This is Beyond Skyline. Already, the rock song over the credits tells us, "Get ready to rumble." Directed by Liam O'Donnell, who wrote this and the first Skyline, and worked on visual effects for The Bay, Iron Man 2, and Aliens vs. Predator: Requiem. It's a sequel, or more accurately, a sidequel. Did I just coin that? The events in this movie coincide with the first movie, but instead of being trapped in the yuppie wet dream high-rise, our characters are on the ground floor. Our main character is Mark, a cop played by Frank Grillo, a welcome addition to any franchise that can't afford The Rock. Mark and his son Trent are in a subway when the blue light thing happens. And at first I thought this was going to go a similar way to Skyline, but instead of being trapped in a penthouse, they were going to be stuck underground, and ultimately Mark and his son are sucked into the ship. But this time, humans fight back and briefly run amok on the ship, which turns out to have a single alien running things, and soldiers who are alien bodies with human brains plugged into them. Jared and Elaine, our couple from the end of the first movie, make a quick return, and they're gone just as quick. They're also played by different actors, and I hate that. But it's a quick scene, and this was probably much, much cheaper. If you remember, Elaine was pregnant, and Jared was turned into one of the aliens, but his special brain allowed him to retain his humanity. But now Elaine is really pregnant. The aliens obviously did something to her to speed things along, and she gives birth to a rapidly growing and aging baby girl, and it crashes in Laos. But our heroes hook up with other human survivors and wage a sort of guerrilla warfare against the aliens. Will Jared and Elaine's daughter be the key to freeing the humans from the aliens? We see more of the alien side, and I kind of felt that it took away from their mystique. The aliens look different than they did in the previous movie. We trade one set of stock characters for another one, but this group is a little more fun. Frank Grillo's character goes from being swept up, literally, in an alien invasion to handling it pretty well. The main alien has no real personality except for having a job to do. He doesn't communicate at all, he just kind of runs around and does stuff, but instead of making him mysterious, he's sort of a non-entity. Except when he's kind of goofy. There's a scene where he's about to kill our hero, then he hears a baby cry, and he just spins around and saunters over to the baby. He's like, "Ooh, I love babies!" There's more of a plot here than hiding in a building, and we're introduced to ways to fight the aliens and give them hell. It's more of an action movie than tense thriller. The first one was a lot more character-driven, and this one is just pure action. Like the original, the effects are impressive. Makeup and creature physical effects looked great. CG characters look as much a part of the scene as the prawns in District 9. Acting ranges from pretty good to Sci-Fi Channel. The story is a bit derivative. It almost feels like an actual movie, not so much as a special effects reel, but I felt like I was watching other movies at times. It reminded me a lot of V for several reasons. A resistance fighting aliens and a Star Child. But the very end kind of gave us a hint of what the third Independence Day would have looked like. We're taking the fight to them. And it ends on bloopers. I mean, they're pretty funny bloopers, and it's a nice way to lighten up after the super serious cheese fest we just sat through. I just didn't expect to find bloopers. It went from a spaceship exploding to guy falling through a wall. That being said, I love bloopers. The movie actually starts as a flashback to the main story as told by a character I forgot all about until the very last scene. I don't know why they felt they had to do this with a character we never really get to know. I was kind of waiting for the record scratch.
When it all falls apart.
I bet you're wondering how I wound up like this. It does move fast in the first act, but once the ship crashes, it starts to drag in spots. But you also see so much of the alien world that it kind of starts to get boring. Inside an alien spaceship, it got old really fast. There's a huge finale with massive mech warrior style battling, and I was like, of course they're doing that. What was left? So why not finish big? I'm giving Beyond Skyline a 2.5 out of 5. It's cheesy, it looks like it belongs on the Sci-Fi Channel, and it's not as dumb as Sharknado movies, but it's also not as self-aware. It takes itself very seriously. The end is very cliche, and it sort of cuts off just as another action scene is starting, a lot like the way the first one ended. It lacks the claustrophobic tension of the first Skyline, but that's swapped out with action. And I also found these characters a tad more likable and interesting than the original group. I still rewatch the original on occasion because it's just so hilariously bad. But I just don't think Beyond has much in terms of rewatchability because it's just, adequate. Without that tension, it's just a typical alien invasion movie. And we've had enough of those. If you like this video, give a thumbs up and subscribe. Only if you want to, no pressure. If aliens invaded, what would be the first thing you do? This is theNewBee, and as always, thanks for watching. And remember, if you see a blue light in the sky, don't look. Ooh, pretty.
Now put it back naked.